Hi, everyone, and welcome to Divinely Empowered with Antonia. Hello, this is Sabio. So Sabio and I met at the Mind Body Spirit. We've got a series of people that I met at Mind Body Spirit, and Sabio is the first one. And we're going to be talking about all the amazing things that he does. So he's a musical composer and a psychosensory practitioner. He's an end-of-life doula. He's a musician, does dance compositions, meditation compositions, all sorts of wonderful things. So Sabio, welcome to my podcast and my YouTube and Rumble and BitChute and everywhere I am. So welcome, thank you for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. Really, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Okay, so how did your journey start? Tell us about what you do. Over to you, Sabio.
Okay, so I've started as a musician. I graduated Academy of Music in classical percussion. Then it was in Poland. Then I moved to London in 2007, and I started studying music production and performance in London Center of Contemporary Music. And the moment I moved here, everything in my life changed, and I got very much interested in wellness, self-development, spirituality, and that was actually the reason why I'm here to go through this journey. And since then everything started. I started discovering many things, and on the way in 2012, I that was the like a kind of big moment when I did the sound healing course. It's called the cellular resonance therapy. And this after that, everything changed in my mind because I discovered I've never I don't know anything about music sound, and this led me to study a lot about vibration, about sound, and from that it led me to different to I did many courses on different subjects, and at the moment now I'm a psychosensory practitioner, so I like this. I think for me that was very interesting psychosensory aspect, which is kind of third pillar of psychology, which includes all like a holistic, but it's still mainstream. So we can
Tell us more
do
about it. Yeah, I don't know anything
yes.
about
Mm.
psychosensory stuff, so tell us all about it.
Yeah, so it came. So I studied havening techniques, and this is the kind of one of the psychosensory modality. Practice. And what it is there are two things: psycho part and sensory. So we combine two parts: sensory input. In this case, in the case of havening, we have a touch which generates. It's not just to touch yourself, but it's to generate the delta wave. And this technique is based very much on neuroscience. So this delta wave helps to release or unglue the neural pathway related to trauma. And so there are like a three areas. So that just kind of in a nutshell, this sensory input. We have a touch, we can do this here, because there are specific areas in the body, but it could be anything. Could be breath work, could be yoga, could be. I'm a laughter yogi, so I do laughter yoga. I use laughter a lot in any form of therapy. It's like my favorite tool. And so it's a sensory input as well, because we use voice. So that's this. And then now we have this psycho part, which is accessing the mind. So while we are doing something, we are busy doing something, like we have a choreography to do, then we say, okay, now think about the most beautiful place you would like to be at, and then we do kind of a lot of work with working memory. which works as a distraction. Also, it opens the possibility to investigate many different aspects related to trauma, or so that's, it's very holistic approach, and I'm
Mm.
so glad that it's a part, the first kind of pillar of psychology at the moment. So it's very good, that is coming to the mainstream. Yeah. So that's what the psychosensory is. And then, and I combine this with groups, doing workshops, different workshops. So it's really no limit what you can do with it.
What
Yeah.
sort of experiences have you had with your psychosensory? What sort of healings have you done? What sort of results have you had?
I've done hundreds of hours of therapy with people, and I also because psychosensory modality is one thing, but I use many different modalities as well, like including hypnosis, clean language, internal family system when I do therapy. So it's all I think we are at this time that we have to combine everything. It's not just about one thing, because
Mhm.
every person is different, is very unique. We need to have a tools to just, oh, this not gonna work for this person, then we need to find another way. But the effects are very, very, very amazing. I had I have no problem to share that I had removed my 3 years old trauma, which was very, very traumatic experience I had. And the moment, because what is happening, imagine, like, the memory uh, which we have through the whole life. Imagine, I was 3 years old, now I'm 44. Yes, the whole life, I had this memory, like there was a cable plugged for 24/7, which reminded me about this subconsciously. So on the neural pathway, there was a this memory was encoded. The moment we disconnected this, then the whole system is almost like can collapse for a while, because it's like completely restructuring the energy. And usually, I have people, when we hit hit the nail, the thing, and
Mm.
we disconnect this neural pathway related to trauma. Really, like, people sometimes sleep like 14 hours, because it's so powerful. And yeah, I found, to be honest, from all my practice, and I've done a lot of things, including spiritual healing, readings, whatever it is, this is like a hammer for me. Like, just, you take the hammer and you just crash the wall. Like,
Mhm.
you is that's what this is, and I see this all the time, how it works. It's very rapid. Doesn't need to, mainly, knowing all my, like, friends who are doing this work, for the worst, maybe, like, very, very drastic, let's say, traumatic experiences, like, it's maybe 6 7 meetings, but I'm talking about really, really hard, like, you cannot even imagine things, like, but usually takes up to 3 4 sessions, and
Mhm.
it's gone, sometimes one. So it's very, very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, I dissolve traumas, which is really
Mhm.
fun.
Yeah,
Makes it yeah, that's very quick and effective
it
too.
is. Well, it is, yeah, it is, at some level it is fun,
I
knowing.
like seeing the results. I like seeing, like,
Yes.
on the spot results. It's really,
Yeah.
really rewarding and amazing to be able to just dissolve things. I had someone I worked on earlier who had a shame memory from years before.
Mm.
And I just, yeah, deleted that, which was affecting her very dramatically. And then
Mm.
she was just today, she was like, oh my God, where is it? Like, it's really strange when it's just gone with something that's been haunting you for decades and no longer needs to have that effect on you.
Totally. Yeah.
Okay, so hypnotherapy. Tell me all about your hypnotherapy.
Okay, this one is a bit, to be honest, yeah, it's called regressive hypnosis, and it's this very specific hypnosis. It's kind of form of regression, but the point of this work is not to go to the past lives, but it's about to see and check what is happening now.
Right.
And we are talking about we are talking about hypnotic environment, which are explained this way. This kind of hypnotic environment is all about really slowing down the brain waves. And I would like to say one thing about hypnosis, because many people confuse this. Hypnosis, the word, is built of two words: hypergnosis and hidden suppressed knowledge. Yes, and the knowledge is when do you know this like a iceberg? Yeah, they always show this in the psychology. So the threshold is, you have the top of the mountain, the mountain, and then this is the conscious, but this knowledge is held is all in subconscious and superconscious. The slower we go, the slower we are able to slow down, the more we are able to slow down the brain waves. And I'm not talking about delta wave. Delta wave is just the mainstream thing, but there's also epsilon. There are undertones, under frequencies, under vibration, anti vibrational states as well. They are, imagine, from 0 to zero point 0.4 hertz, there's a whole universe. And that the knowledge, the hidden knowledge, is there, like the things we never ask. So we kind of stop with the delta wave, which is the sleep. But the sleep, it's a sleep, dreaming space, and many things is happening there. But I'm not interested in that. I'm interested to go under, to go, this the epsilon brain waves,
Okay.
and it's under. So the idea is the slower the idea is to actually stop vibrating, to stop vibrate. If you stop vibrate, then you have an access to the superconscious, where idea that something is not possible doesn't exist. And then we are able to move. So I work with the telepaths. I'm a telepath as well, so I can work as an operator or telepath. So the telepath is like a surrogate. So it's like, can work on behalf of someone who has a dementia coma. We can connect, and we've done a lot of work like this, and it's unbelievable
What do you do with
how it works.
dementia
But
comas? That's very interesting work. Tell me more about that.
yes, so
Dementia.
what is possible, we are able to connect to through the telepath, which this person is all it's a trained. We know how to work. I know I have a team of amazing people, and so we have a specific way to work, so we can connect to the person who cannot communicate verbally, uh, and connect on the subconscious level, and literally like have a conversation. Yeah.
Mm.
So I started this from talking to animals this way, and it's not only we talk, but we solve the problems, really. Like there's the first time I had this session with the dog of my friend, and the dog was electrified by this like electric fence, yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to go back to the car, but this person, she had a camper van, so this dog always was in the car, and it was fine. He was fine, but after that he couldn't get into the car. So we solved this out, we solved the problem. And that's why I started investigate. I did
How did you
sessions.
solve the problem? What did you say to the dog?
Oh, it's a whole, we as humans are so arrogant because it's a specific way to honor the being, which is all the beings. So the dog is like the most holy person. You talk to the dog like this, like the God itself. You honored this being, and it's like almost like talking to the child, but with the highest honor. And so I showed him, look, this is the difference between this is I showed him the engine of the car. That this sound, what you hear, what you are afraid of, is that uh, it's an engine. It's something which allows this box which the humans travel in. This box is moving because of this engine. So I asked this friend of mine, okay, show him the engine. It's like, okay, now you see, for example, this is the road, so don't go this way on the road. So like you show, like you teach basically. And there
Mm.
was, at some point, there was something very, very interesting, because she said, yes, he came to the car and he said, it's like, I have a question. Now I see you as alpha. Now after this session, so he said, I see you as you are my alpha. Yeah, now I can trust you.
Yeah,
But I have a problem. I don't feel comfortable sitting with you in the one line,
right.
because I should be. So I said, is it possible that yeah, I can somehow sit on the back? And she said, yes. But I said, okay, tell him that you will be very honored to have you, and that you are fine to have him in the same line. So, but that's one of the many stories I had. Like,
Mm,
I just, yeah, it's a lot to say,
I'm
but
sure.
it's always all about the human, the owner,
Mm.
working with animals. But with going back to this regressive hypnosis, that's different story, because this is really, we are able to see on the etheric level, on the, let's say, it's a soul level, but the soul level, it's not everything. Yeah. So I see everything as a circle of awareness, where the body is one of the circle, the energy body is one of the circle, the soul is a circle, and the spirit, the awareness, which is the over conscious. That's what it means, awareness. So that's over conscious. I think it's a Greek or Latin, so which clothes the consciousness, so which clothes the soul. It's like but yeah, so but it's, then we can kind of explore it, and it is really powerful, very, sometimes, most of the time, shocking for people to experience this, but
So what happens,
it's
because you
not
mentioned
easy.
dementia and comas, because I think that's particularly interesting, because obviously those people can't verbally communicate the same as animals, I guess. So how does that work when you work? And have you got any stories about someone with dementia or a coma, and a situation around that, or how do you work that sort of stuff?
Well, there are many, many, many things. I worked with suicidal, for example, because just to give like a more drastic example. Um, Fortunately, nothing happened, but let's say you can work with the person. For example, there was a mother who had a suicidal daughter, and she tried a few times to commit suicide. So then we did the session where she connected to her daughter. She could observe what's going on. We solved some problems, and now she's fine. The same way we can connect, for example, another story I can bring here. During COVID, one of my friend, her father had a stroke, 83 years old, went to the hospital. No one could see him. No one could visit him. So he just shut down. And so then we did the session. Then we through her connected to him,
Hmm.
and the next day she went to just see him through the window in the hospital, and he could talk.
Amazing.
Yes, so I at the moment, because I also do the end of life doula. So in a case of suicides, I know it's a bold statement for many people, but well, even I would say, even if this is 50% of truth, what I'm saying, yeah. So this 50% is worth to know instead of not knowing, not
Yeah.
to try. Let's say, because the truth is, in this hypnotic environment, the information is very distorted. Everyone gets the information through its own filters, and but my role is to destroy this illusion, so which can kind of put like a filter on the fog. We need to it's all about the truth, and the truth, um it's the truth for me is like a boiling water. The truth, the water boils in 100 degree of Celsius, doesn't boil in 99.
Okay.
Yeah. So or it is or not, but we need to shoot for this 100%, for to target this, because we always will get less. But if we target 70 or 60%, then we will have 50. But if we target
Okay.
100%, yeah, so so really it all depends on the case. And my I would, maybe someone would be willing to try this, because I actually I'm looking for people, um, with this case, coma, dementia, just to try. Uh, who knows what kind of information we can get.
Hmm.
um, but from my experience, I can say that working with the telepath, which is like an extra eye for
Yeah.
me, is really interesting. We did sessions, for example, for parents who have a problem with children, like
Hmm.
little children. They won't be able to do the session, but so we kind of can check what's happening, or with like someone has like a phobia. I had last time this mom who asked, there was a girl who had a 10 years old, panically afraid about any animals.
Okay.
Like, she could see the fly, and she would shut herself in the room. So we can see, and it's always interesting how, because the parents know, so we kind of there's some information, quite a lot of information. It's very, very accurate, very interesting. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so you use a lot of sound in work. So tell me about how you're using sound with meditation and with dance, and your use of sound in healing.
Sound, yes, sound for me, and vibration, and the musical relationship between tones. For me, it's like a map and manual for how to navigate. It's literally, if we understand the psychology of music and sound, then we don't need to ask more questions. Really, how everything functions here, from my perspective, and from many other people, like Nikola Tesla, the masters, yeah, it's very interesting. So that's why I investigate this, and my particular interest in sound and vibration is working on the micro scale. and the micro scale is the level. The analogy would be the same like when we investigate disease, or disease is the micro scale, is under microscope, to zoom in into to look for the cause of disease. And the disease is created by colonies of pathogens, viruses, bacteria, fungi, so the same here with sound. And I'm interested in the nervous system, how to affect the nervous system, because when I can connect and affect the nervous system, then the whole body, the vagus nerve here, is calming down. And it's all about really, there are two ways, really. It's that simple. There are two ways how we feel. We feel or contraction or release. The rest is just the labels we put on them. It's like we kind of poets, which we are adding a lot of words to contraction, uncomfortable, for example. Yeah, all this kind of stuff. So this is the vibration creates tension or release. That's only how we feel. And we can feel also in
So,
the middle, which is the 0 point. Yeah,
yeah,
very neutral. um I like what Marisa Pierce, the way she describes love is indifferent.
indifferent.
Indifferent, yes. It's being indifferent gives us we allowing for everything to happen the way it is. If we totally indifferent, we love everything. In a way, I know it's a bit like no, because human mind will think like, no, but it's cruel. Like, you don't care.
No, I think peace is indifference. I don't think love is. So I like the work that I do is people are a lot of the stuff I do is trauma and releasing traumas. So when people have a very upsetting event, that's already the fireworks. That is, they think about it and they have an emotional response to it, makes them anxious, makes them angry, whatever it is. And what I do is remove the resonance of the trauma. Then it feels peaceful. But that's neutrality, that's indifference. But when they think about it, nothing happens. That's still
Right.
water. So it's like, it's just still water, and peace is stillness. And to some people, it feels like numbness because people often have never experienced peace. They don't know what it is. It's just emptiness. It's stillness. You think about it. Okay, that happened. I'm okay with it. It wasn't a great situation, but it no longer haunts them. It no longer owns their future. It no longer affects them. So
Right.
that's peace. That's indifference. Love, I think, is a different vibration entirely. So I think like real healing is peace, and that's indifference. You think, so what? It's like a so what moment, like doesn't bother me anymore. The stage beyond that. So when you reach the peace, and I can get people to this stage as well, then the next step underneath the peace seems to be forgiveness. They've already let it go to the next point. The next thing that bubbles up and through is love and understanding and forgiveness. And then they start thinking about wanting to forgive that person, and maybe they say, oh, okay, well, maybe they were doing it because they had all these pressures or whatever, and they just come to this forgiveness place and this neutrality and then forgiveness, and love is the one underneath that. So for me, indifference and love quite a long way away from each other. I understand what your point is. And you should be in love with everyone and everything. It shouldn't necessarily be focused towards being in love with one sole person, although obviously people have love interests, but being in a state of love is ultimately where we're, I think, obviously trying to ascend to some degree, which is where you're being loving to everyone and everything, but that includes generosity of heart and spirit and wanting to be kind and be in service to everything. It's not indifference. Indifference is just not really bothered. I think that's apathy. For me, indifference can be apathy. It's just like not really caring about it either way. Whereas when you're in a real state of flow and love, you want to be of service to everyone and everything in every way. That's my way of seeing
Yes,
it.
it's I love the peace. Yeah, peace is wow, peace is something really. uncomfortable, like you said, and it's strange, the pure peace, and it's a part of this state as well. It's this, you allow for everything to happen, yeah, as well, like peace. It's a yeah, I
It's
know.
empty though, but peace
Yeah,
has nothing happening in it. Like anger
right.
is animated and
Yeah.
happiness is animated, sadness is pulling you down.
Mm.
Peace is empty.
It's
It is
empty.
just still water. You look at a pond and it's just flat, a lake, a pond, something like that, and it's just flat,
Yes.
nothing is happening. That is peace. There is nothing, there are no stimulations up or down, left or right. That's
Mm.
what peace is, lack of stimulation. Love still has stimulation in it. There's something else,
Right.
but it's a different level, it's a different thing.
Yes, yeah, but yes, but in a sense, like seeing this, this water, nothing is empty. So in empty, in zero, there's no one idea. There's no idea. So it's
Nothing
also
is empty. Even water and air has DNA in it. Like everything has something in it. Everything is life. Life is pregnant in everything in the universe.
right, right, right. Yeah, but peace is good one. It's I personally think this is the highest state where we can be still in the physical world functioning. Have like a once we
But I live in walking meditation. I've lived in walking meditation in a peaceful place for 20 years. I don't have
Mm,
thoughts.
mm,
I live in that higher state of consciousness, and I have, as I said, for 20 years. But honestly, I'm coming more and
mm,
more into a loving state. Peace can be indifference. Love is the next step. Honestly, having done both, it's different. And it's more like being in love with everyone and everything, and
mm,
really having that reverence, that love, that adoration, that wanting to be in service.
mm,
It's the next step along for in my journey anyway, maybe not in other people's, but I've done peace for such a long time. I'm now moving into love. That's
mm,
where my journey is taking me.
mm. Nice, nice.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me about, so what's this contemporary dance? So you do contemporary dance as well, or how does that all work?
So I've been working with this field since 2010. Before that, I was like a session musician, was touring with the bands, and then I discovered the dance. I started working at universities like Trinity Lab and different like companies, and yes, and somehow I this is part what I do, like in terms of music. I improvise always, playing for dance,
Mm-hmm.
and thanks to that I had a chance to investigate different instruments. So I started learning a lot of instruments as well. I would say a bit of, because I was bored a bit, so I started kind of learning because of my work. And
Musicians always do that. They get bored and they're like, right, I'll just take on another instrument. And they've just got this huge repertoire of instruments.
mm,
I love musicians. I've got so many musician friends. It's just insane how many instruments a lot of them play. Yeah.
yes, yes, but it's such a, you know, it's very interesting, also from the perspective, like a therapeutic perspective. Each instrument, how the instrument vibrates. Cello, for example, a cello, or string instrument is like a different quality. When trumpet, it gives you this strange vibe in your head,
Mm.
voice. um, and I'm suspecting many of that, a lot of this aspect is that's why people play, because, and also because I work also with artists during the creation process, quite well known artists, and a lot, for example, with the flamenco field, the flamenco dancers, and everything what they the way we use instruments or artists they create. uh, my question is, it's a kind of psychological question. How much they do this because uh, they literally have like some kind of um, they are getting healed, or how
Mm.
much they do this because they are, because they can, you know. For the dancers, my personal observation, I've worked with many, and most of them, they have this ADHD symptoms severe, and could be unrealized completely because they're still moving. Ask them to stop. If they need to face what's happening in the body, they will, that's why they move. The same happened to me when I started playing drum kit, and I have a ADHD, let's say. I don't think there's a disease, but there's the
Symptom.
list of symptoms. There's something in it, right? There's like, so when I before I played piano and I had to sit in a still position like this, yeah, that I hated this instrument. Uh, but I didn't hate the music. I love the music, but I didn't know why I didn't like it. When I started playing drums, then I could practice 8 hours a day. Why? Because I felt good. You know, I felt good, and not because I loved music that much. I actually, a few years ago, I realized that music is never my thing. It was imposed on me by my father, and when you do something, you become good at it, and I became good, and it's okay, it's stayed. But this is not my choice. I supposed to be a vet, you know,
You're supposed to be
or
a
doctor,
vet.
or doctor. That was my natural talent. I was so interested in animals, and when I was like little, and I was like crazy about animals. So that was my thing,
Mm.
and not music. But so I assume big percentage of artists have the same thing. They don't even know, they don't do what that what they do is not their own they thing they're
Mm.
supposed to do. I
I
I
know a few drummers who are damaged. Maybe there is a thing about avoiding your emotional stuff.
mm, mm. Yes, because we are practicing, and we say we have these facades. Yeah, music will take off, look after us, and once just put, there are loads of tricks we play. Just okay, I don't know what to do. I go practice. It's
Mm.
like a drug, you know.
Mm.
And
That's
and I
interesting.
yes, it's for sure. And then you get to the level where you start playing, touring, and there's another another dream just crushed because you're realizing that this life is horrible. I've done a lot of touring. I mean, it's okay, not horrible. It's amazing at some point, but
It's
I think
hard. Touring is hard.
it's hard, like.
It's really hard. One night here, 2 nights here. You're always on a tour bus. You're always moving. It's fantastic performing, but the bits in between. And
Exactly.
it's difficult to hold down relationships. It's difficult to keep track of people. It's difficult to keep track of your own mind because you keep moving.
Yes,
And then
yes,
it's like running your house. I know I have a lot of musician friends. I know a lot of people on tour, and it is, and this is just exhausting as well. But,
mm,
it's buzzy and it's fun and it's amazing. But, some of them would like to settle down, and you can't because you don't have work all the time. You have to be moving the whole time. And it's very, ungrounding in a way because you just keep moving, moving, moving. Yeah, yeah, it's hard. It's
yes,
amazing, but it's hard.
yes, and it's strange. I've never. said this publicly. Before COVID, I spent like 3 years on tour. I did like in 2.5 years, 300,000 miles. Was like crazy. And then because of the ability to kind of connect to the, you know, telepathically, I have in front of me, I have the oak in the garden, yeah. And one day this oak told me, like I literally like heard, I was like in Monaco somewhere swimming, and this oak is talking to me, and I hear something like this. Do you know why we are growing so big and we live so for so long?
This is true.
And then I said, why? Because we are not moving. We, I don't move. I, in one place, I can build something, I can grow, and I can live forever. It doesn't need to be the one place, you know, like physical place, but I think it's also internally the home, and external home, and the place where we can always come back, but also physical movement, like traveling so much,
Mm.
it messes up with your energy. Um, it's so unnatural. Like we are
We
not
are,
robots.
I like this. My friend told me this yesterday, Chantal. She said, we are human beings, not human doings.
Right.
It's supposed to be being in places, and we're always just busy doing. I'm hoping we're going to come into a stage where we have some little robots who can start doing our laundry and cleaning the house and doing all the mundane things, you know, and we can just get back to music and healing and fun and playing with people rather than so many bullshit jobs, really, that we have to do.
So that and this you can be sure it's coming.
Yeah,
The
I just
robots
think
are
there are so many clever people inventing so many clever things, you know, and it would
coming.
just be, I just, well, yeah, we are so busy. Everyone has so many being pulled in and so much work and being pulled in different directions, you know, there's not enough being and there's too much doing for most people, I think.
Also, I think this doing, this need to do something, it's also compulsive behavior. You know,
Yes.
for some, for many, I would say, it's like compulsing eating. Just oh, I need to do something, and many times we don't want to face the true, real purpose,
Mm.
because we know if we focus on one thing, then that this thing will happen, and if this thing will happen, then I will have to take a responsibility, then I will have to teach, or then I will have to deliver,
Yeah.
and
Not
the
easy playing big. Everyone play, if you distract yourself, you can keep playing small. When you
mm,
get singularly focused on something and a big dream, then it starts to come into fruition. It's a lot of responsibility.
and yeah, and the fear of success is one of the biggest factor why the success is not happening. It's the same
Yeah,
with therapy. When people, if they people really don't want to be healed
some of them.
fully, like
Some people are so identified with their illness that they are so and so with this,
right.
and they don't know who they are without that sickness. And if they don't, and if they haven't developed the strong sense of identification outside of their illness, then they don't know who they'll be without it. And then that's quite a difficult person to heal because they
Mm,
are so identified with it, and it's so much part of them. It's almost like you're stealing part of their personality or their soul or something in some way. You know, it's very
right.
important that people don't identify too much with it and make it the most important thing about them in some way, which often happens because it's very overwhelming being poorly. So it's, but yeah, there are some people who, you know, there are secondary gains from being sick. For example, if your children aren't around very much because they are now looking after their own families and doing whatever they're doing, and then you become quite sick,
Mm,
and then they start paying a lot of attention to you. You know, it
mm,
may be that you really like that attention. and for some people they would rather, you know, accelerate their death coming forward rather than be well. In a subconscious way, people are very ready aware of these things, but they might be getting something like a lot of love from their families, and if they were well, then the love would stop. So it might be better for them in some level to actually continue with the illness.
Totally. It's yeah. This happens
All the
a
time.
lot. Yeah, all the time.
So
Yeah.
okay, what one story on being a doula, so end of life doula, how does that really work?
Hmm. So this is my it's my practice, and it's the way of life, the way of grief.
Mm,
Um, my understanding, of this game is it's in different traditions as well, like in Sufi tradition, uh, to die before you die. Yeah, to die before you die, to be free of any, let's say, emotional, any attachment.
mm.
And I just love this subject because when this moment comes, we are able to witness truth,
Okay.
the truth, without without veils, and it's just naked, and the presence, and the beauty actually of the soul, then it's and the beauty is available. What we were taught, and I think it's also quite accurate. 5 minutes before we die, we are becoming aware about the soul.
Oh.
Many people depends, if it's like a sudden but that's in general. uh, and then most of the people will first confuse that with someone else, because if you never had a concept, you have a driver of this body. Yeah.
Mm,
So you meet the driver, and who are you, and you ask, who are you? uh, Many people will be scared of itself, thinking it's
mm,
someone else, and many people will think it's God,
mm-hmm,
because of the beauty, of the majesty, of the feeling what it is. And so it's like a really, my kind of, I want to say, like a, I don't want to say it's mission. I don't feel I have a mission in this case, but I would like to share this news, before you go, because then from this regressive hypnosis work as well, the
mm-hmm,
game many times starts after. That's why we need to be ready to, and this is not to scare anyone, but to know yourself before you go. This
mm,
is this is the aim, to know yourself before you go, which means die before you die. And
mm,
then we so for example, practice uh, okay, so first I want to say, I after the training, I decided to work with grief. I would like, because then I feel like I can help anytime.
mm-hmm,
I can help, so the person who is passing away, or the family. I can work to literally, well, to understand grief, you know, to turn the eyes into the beauty of the soul, and a little bit to bring this concept of who we are, to this,
mm-hmm,
and it and but then there are so many aspects. You need to wipe out all the stories. There's no
mm-hmm,
religion. Okay, you can keep your religion, but consider if this, let's try to feel what you are,
mm,
so really like in exploring the states of being you. and so the grief is my because I can do this, and it's very effective with havening as well, and a part of that, yes, it's a it's a it's a way of being. My practice, for example, what I do. This I realize this is a puppy animal. This is the
Right.
animal
Like
part of me.
stroking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're doing
This
a
is my kitty. Yeah. Nice, nice. So you talk to this as like as it's a animal, and you treat, you feed the animal, you and to keep the love the same like you would keep the love for the puppy.
Mhm.
And I want to ask people who watch, just think now how many times you love your body as you love the little kitten or the dog.
Mhm.
You never loved that much your body, and it's your body, the most important animal you have. But then you are not an animal, it's your animal, and then the animal has an owner, the animator. So
Right.
like an anima from the Jungian psychology, anima, animator. So we need to connect to the animator. Then in this case, the animator would be the soul, let's say. Yes.
Mm.
So now we can, from the perspective of the soul, I have my puppy, and I'll look after the puppy. But so at some point there needs to be conversation between animator and the puppy, and say, listen, gently, uh, there will be time where you will have to leave, go.
Mhm.
And that's how I prepare myself. Not scaring, but I say, but we will go together. You won't be alone. We go, you go, and I go. But
Nice.
then we connect to even in this conversation, where we connect to the animator of the animator, the spirit
Okay.
level, the awareness, you know? So it's like to include everything. So even the animator of the animator will say to the soul, look, it will be time you will go.
Mhm. Amazing.
You go back, what it means, what it means for me, going to innocence,
Yeah.
innocence, in essence.
In essence, yes. Yeah,
To
yeah.
go back to being in essence.
Mhm.
That's where home is. So, and then, we're going back home. All the party is over. We're going back home. But without this conversation with yourself, and it's the most certain thing that will happen at some point. This is one thing you can be sure.
Death and taxes.
Yeah, and the taxes, yeah, taxes you can cheat, but this way you will
Not
not cheat.
really, not easily, not, yeah, anyway, enough on
That's a
that.
different story. But so I'm kind of, from time to time I work with myself this way. That, yeah, that there will be time, so we have time, we have good time now. We are experiencing, going for the walks, we do all the human things. But there will be time, and this where I want to be prepared, and I want to prepare the body for to know, and then we just go in peace. And so the same, I would like to share that with people, how to prepare yourself before you go.
Lovely.
Why this doesn't need to be scary at all. It's all about understanding. Understanding is this factor which brings peace.
Sure.
If we understand the night is dark, then we don't, we're not like, oh my God, we're not fighting it. We just understand, and what is happening. If we understand what is happening, then the peace is there.
Lovely.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yes. Okay. So how will people get hold of you? What offerings have you got coming up? What's your website? All of that sort of stuff, please.
Yes, so most of the things on the website, but I have also
we're going to put everything below, but it's psychosensoryclinic.com, masteringharmony.com, MOV, masteringharmony, mov.masteringharmony.com.
this is there's a voice blueprint course. So I also have like a course on voice, how to work with voice. It's like an alchemy of voice, using voice, and how to use voice in order to transform your reality. So it's like our own vibration, our own tone, and yes. So you will be able to find me. We'll
And
post the
so you
links.
work with people one-to-one, you do groups, you've got a 7-week course coming up. Tell us about that
Yes,
briefly.
well, so it's a one-to-one course, because I found this is the most effective way for now. Maybe I will do groups later, but at the moment I prefer, because it is a very interesting journey. Yes, so also I will have some festivals in terms of the music. So I have also this music project, Be Well Music, where I do like a live ecstatic dance journeys, or
Meditative.
meditative music as well. Yeah, more like
Beautiful.
for the soul. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, any final last words of wisdom you'd like to share with everybody?
Yes, well, so I would kind of stick to what I just said about this idea of knowing yourself, um, to really invest in it, because that's what it means. The process of knowing yourself is really remembering yourself, being a member with you again. So that's, if I can advice, that's I would say that to really look for yourself, and find yourself. Yeah, this self, that would be the last word.
Lovely. Okay, Sabio, thank you so much for being here. Everything will be on below, and send me all the information. Thank you everyone for watching.
Thank you.